Hello, welcome to David Eames On Your Mind, a conversation between friends about mental health issues. Hello, and welcome to the David Eames On Your Mind podcast. As usual, I'm joined by the beautiful Mikey Markham and the, frankly ravishing Owen Oxley. And a further addition today, my boy Teddy. Because today we're going to be talking about pets, so there might be a bit of, shall we say, extraneous noise going on. Teddy's not the most restrained member of the team. So I want to talk about, it sounds a bit of a trivial thing, but for many people, myself included, pets are a really important part of our lives. And I think they can be really good for mental health, also cause some sorrow. So Mikey, how important are animals in your life?
They're really important. We've just had a new dog actually, and it's been amazing, but really hard work, as you can tell.
Yeah.
And we've got a baby at the minute. We've got the carnage going on. My life is very busy, and adding a dog into the equation, what I did really was replace my cat. Because I wanted my cat to come with us. Mm-hmm. Cat couldn't stay at their house. I felt too guilty. Mm-hmm. And we brought the cat back to the farm. Now we've got this dog. I love him to bits, but it definitely... You need to get all the walks in. Uh-huh. You need to really accept you're going to have some wires chewed. Mm-hmm. You're going to have some shoes that you love go. You've just got all these acceptances and be really mindful around that. Yeah. But on them hard days when you got home and you've had a terrible day and he just unconditionally loves you, yeah, and he's being fun and playful or whatever, it's integral. It really is, because people as well, we're all loaded with our own existences and our own feelings and happenings in that day. Mm-hmm. But a dog is just there, mm-hmm, and he's had his food, he's had his walk, he's happy. Let's go. Mm-hmm. So that's a special thing to be able to come to. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good. Owen, dogs don't matter to you, do they?
They are everything. They are literally everything. They are my entire world. I mean, I've got 3 dogs, mm-hmm, and strategically got them in lessening age, however you put it, reducing age, because I know that when I've lost them in the past, it still kills me now to think about any of the dogs or pets I've lost in the past. It breaks me, mm-hmm, but only in a good way. Yeah. There's no regret. There's never regret. It's just sad because I don't get there anymore. Or like, kind of what upsets me sometimes is the fact that like the kids love our current dogs, and they only remember our older dogs as, yeah, but they're a bit old and tired. And it was like, no, he was fucking brilliant. He was the man. He was amazing. He was better than these, mm-hmm, but I think you can tell a lot from a person, and you can take a lot, and you can connect a lot with people, like just through pets. I mean, the amount of times I'll just stop the car and she's got used to it now, because I'll see a puppy and I'll stop the car and I'll jump out and she's like shouting, he's all right, he's okay, like I'm a dog. Mm-hmm. And I just want to see them. I just want to embrace this other, and like because I come here to the farm, and obviously you've got the kennels and the cattery, I can't help but go over. Mm-hmm. And I've got to go and see all of them. I need to interact with every single one of them for the same amount of time. I need to give them enough scruffles. But they are everything. So working from home, I've got 3 mates that I can sound off to. Living with my wife and 2 girls, one of them a teenager, I can walk down the shed and rant to them, and they follow me. And they're like, oh yeah, that sounds shit. Biscuit after this. I'm like, yeah, we'll probably have a biscuit. It's like, cool. I'll keep listening to your dad. And then taking them for a walk. Mm-hmm. I go for a walk every single day, because if I don't, Henry licks my legs. Mm-hmm. And it sounds trivial, but it's fucking horrible, and I don't want him to keep doing it. So he's got an inbuilt clock that he knows 4:30, he's going to be either fed or walked. But there's a lot that's happened in that day, and once I've dropped the kids off, or we've done whatever in the day, or been working, and then having to pick the kids up, and like just all the shit that goes with life, to walk out and just go and do something. Without dogs, you'd seem selfish, because then your wife's either cooking or cleaning or doing whatever you're doing and part of the team. But knowing that my job is to do the dogs is beautiful, because I just get to go out. I took a can of cider with me last night. Took a can of cider, walked to the field, and they were just having the best time. And I honestly, I genuinely think it is the meaning of life. It is everything. It is absolutely everything. Just to have these relationships with these cool dudes that don't ever call you a prick. Do you know what I mean? They're beautiful.
Well, actually, I've had a word with your dogs and behind your back.
Yeah, I can believe it. I can believe it. But I can win them back with a biscuit. I can win them back with a crunchy. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter.
Conditional love.
Yeah, for real. What about you? Chinks. We'll take that.
Team-handed now.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah, dogs. Teddy kind of rules my life. It's such a commitment having a dog. I think people can do it, a bit carelessly sometimes, or without the knowledge that how much of a commitment it is, financial, as well as emotional, and just your time. That Teddy's with me today because Sue, my wife, she's out. She's gone to the hairdressers, and I couldn't bear to leave him on his own. And that's soppy, isn't it? Really, but his particular breed, they don't do very well with separation.
Well, they don't when they've been babied by you for the past 10 years.
Yeah,
Then no,
that might be part of the factor.
It might be that he's a little lapdog.
I am a total soppy bastard.
Yeah, exactly.
No, he's rock hard. He's just like me.
He's the most aloof dog I've ever seen. He's aware of his how handsome he is, how cute he is, and he's walked into my house more times. He does. He struts. He Billy struts across. Comes into my house, eats the dog's food, drinks the water, and they all three of them look at him like, "The fuck, man? What are you doing?"
He doesn't curry anyone's favour. That's for sure.
No.
But of course, every day as well, there's a bit of fear attached to that as well because they live tragically short lives. They give so much love. They give 70 years of love in their short lives, but it's that you've got to enjoy it while you can. So I think there's a strong lesson to be learnt there. I may have mentioned before that we went for 12 years without a dog because when my previous dog died, I thought I can't go through that again.
Yeah.
And the moment we got Teddy, I realised I'd been a fool. Look, he's trashing the bus now.
You can live with that.
Just wants to see outside.
Yeah.
He's crazy. But the moment we got him, I thought, well, I've been a fool. Well, yeah, there's loss in life, but without, if you're avoiding the loss, you avoid all the gains. If we never seek out that love, we never get it.
No. But I think they make everything infinitely better. It doesn't matter where you go. Like the amount of times I've got a big family, and sometimes it can be a bit of a strain when we're travelling to wherever we're going, and we've got to see auntie this and uncle that. We've got to go to such and such. Make sure we see these before we leave. And when you turn up and they've got a dog, all my commitments are gone. I don't have to engage with anyone. I may be just a bit of a loner, but instead of having to sit and do the whole how's things, work all right, kids all right, I can just play with the dogs. Yeah. And I can just see the dogs. And they just, whatever you're fussing them, they're like, oh, we're best mates, aren't we? Like, we are completely best mates, yeah, all day.
I thought I could make some income, actually. I've thought about this, of blackmailing Stacey for not telling you about a dog that's going to be orphaned. Because you acquire dogs on that basis.
That's literally how we've ended up with the ones we've got.
Is that how you got all your dogs?
Yeah. So when we had Harley, that was from Stacey's auntie, Nick. And she was very similar to how your setup is. You acquire, before you know it, the farm can handle another dog or a donkey or 15 cats. And she used to have endless dogs or Maine Coon cats and tortoises and all sorts. And we were always really close. And when we moved into our house, she said, do you want a dog? Because Owen's at work. I was working at Egg and I was there late. Do you want a dog so I keep you company? And I'd met Harley a number of times, and I was always like, yeah, he's just a little pom-pom. He was a Lhasa Apso. And I was like, yeah, he's just a bit rubbish, isn't he? And basically we said, yeah, okay. So we took him, and then he became my very best mate. But it was about 2 or 3 years before he died, we went to Codner Fete, and Ben was there. And he came out, and this girl had him on a lead, and I was like, oh, my God, what breed is he? And she said, Lapa, poop. And I said, is it a Lhasa Apso? She went, yeah. I was like, oh, wow. What's the story? And she went, oh, he's 6 months. He went to some pensioners that couldn't look after him, and he needs adopting. And I was like, oh, shit. And I just couldn't see him going back to these kennels. And I was like, So I looked at Stacey, she's like, nope. And then I got both the girls. Libby was 6 months. I was like, what, they want him? She's like, no, definitely not. And eventually, long story short, we ended up with, we had him that night. And so he's the therapy dog. It's always been a step down because obviously since then when I lost Harley, I had Ben. Don't get me wrong, it hurt like fuck, but I had someone else to, because coming in to an empty house, when we've dropped the dogs off before we went to Thailand, say in April, we took them all to my dad's the day before, and just the night you get in and there's no one meeting you at the door, and there's no one in your way when you get into bed, you're like, this is beyond wrong. So yeah, it's now we've got the three we've got pretty much all rescued.
I'll ask you, because David spoke about the grief that he experienced with a dog. You've been through that then.
Yeah.
How did you deal with that?
Genuinely, I think I put everything into Ben. I think it was more a case that, like, even now, I can get choked up thinking about Harley because me and Stace didn't have any kids when we first had him, so he went everywhere. So literally, we never asked anyone. We just turned up and we always had him with us. So if we'd have gone to my dad's or if we'd gone to the park or whatever we'd have done, he would always been with us. So he was such a massive part that I just have to kind of remind myself that I'm so grateful to have him, to have had, and we had him for 16 years. And like after that, when he got really, really old, he probably went a bit longer than he probably should have.
Yeah.
And I'd never had a dog put down in my life because we'd had dogs all my life at my mum's, at my dad's, and they'd always died of natural causes, which is heartbreaking, but it's also kind of settling to know they're at home, they're comfortable, they're happy, they're safe. Whereas to take him in and just like looking him in his eye and sort of go, I'm fucking you over it, mate. It was kind of, that sat heavy. Mm-hmm. But all in all, you won't ever. And I don't think you should. I think you should embrace it. You should embrace it. It means that much to you, and it's that important to you that you should embrace that and just love how much that means to you, rather than it making you sad. Because crying about it or being sad about it isn't always a bad thing. It's nice because it means so much.
It's the proof of the value, isn't it?
Does that make sense? Yeah.
No, it's the absolute proof of the value, and I think we've talked about this before on multiple occasions. It can't be stressed enough. Is that pain teaches us what's valuable in life. That without pain, what does anything mean?
Precisely, yeah.
It's like, gifts and things like that. If you're the richest person in the world, I mean, you talked down about watching Succession. The guy that's a hero from that, Logan Roy, whose favourite catchphrase is "fuck off." If anybody gives him anything, it's just whatever.
Yeah.
Because what does anything mean when you can have whatever you want?
Yeah. The value's just so reduced,
and no matter how much money you've got, you can't keep your dog alive.
Yeah.
Or the people that you love.
Yeah.
So that real value that comes from that.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing is that the dog gives you a different perspective on life. That unconditional love that they give.
Yeah.
That you never come home after a bad day and the dog goes, "Nah, don't talk to me, man.
Yeah.
I've had a crap one myself."
That's what can make the grief last so long, though, as well, because it's that unconditional love, and then you reflect to every memory you've had where they've just been consistent throughout, the breakups you've been through, the timeline of events, and you just reflect to that pet being there in every moment and just being there. So it's you can't, in that moment, when I've been through certain griefs, I've at least had this moment of, well, they did that thing or they let me down that day. I've never had that with an animal because I'm just like, they just can't let you down.
Yeah, because you don't need to make it fit. And I think that's a bit about embracing the grief, because they'll never be one the same. They'll never ever be one the same. And then there can be one that's as good. And this is what I was saying before, like when the girls are saying, "Oh, he's the best dog out of 3," because they all gravitate to different ones of my kids and my wife.
Yeah.
But they've all got different experience and different feelings. But they'll have endless dogs throughout their life, but there'll always be a little space that is never overwritten. It's never replaced. It's just solid gold. Because it doesn't matter if, I can remember one of them, Harley bit one of them when he was older because they fell on him.
Yeah.
He had no teeth, and they were a heavy kid that fell on him. So she went, "Can you remember when he bit me?" But it wasn't like I hated it. It was just that it was another, just a happy little thing that happened. And so, yeah, it's...
And each dog has different personality as well, which
Yeah.
I think is fascinating. So, my relationship with Ted, he's kind of my baby.
Yeah.
But Duke, our last dog, who was a golden retriever, he was like my brother.
Yeah.
We just had an equal relationship.
Yeah.
He was sort of mature and he's out. Once he'd grown up a bit, he was an absolute bleeding nightmare as a puppy. He chewed everything to bits.
Yeah.
There was one time that the business I was in with another guy, one of the best leads we ever had, the dog ate it. And this mate of mine, the guy I was working with, said, I'm not going to speak to your dog anymore. And finally he came round to see us and he's sitting down. Those are the days when people smoked. And he was having a cigarette ashtray on the so he got a nice dark suit on. The dog came up to see him, sniffed the ashtray, and sneezed the contents all over him.
God.
Nice.
It's just that's a dog.
But when it's also, he doesn't look at you like, oh, fuck, sorry. It's just like that's happened.
Yeah.
Which is perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at homeless people, they've got next to nothing. They're struggling, they've got next, but the one thing they have got, majority of the time, is a companion. And it's a dog.
Oh, that was pretty sad recently. That guy that had 2 shot. Did you see that?
I heard about it, yeah, and it's just so difficult when you can't control everyone and everything, and someone makes a bad decision, or someone makes a decision that goes against what you believe. It's so difficult to see because, like, lots of things, it just takes a little bit more patience, or a little bit more time, or a little bit more concern, rather than just, no, this is what we do, and you think, come on, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's heartbreaking. And it's always
There's
is.
one aspect of dog ownership I struggle with, is when people buy dogs to make them look hard.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Poor dogs as well. Because
Yeah.
they're just being bred into that status relationship.
Yeah. I was thinking I always wanted a dog that I don't have to worry about who he's going to chew on.
Yeah, I think it is really sad because it's the insecurities in that person that run a lot deeper than just having to mask it with something like a dog, because people do it with all sorts. They do it with cars, they do it with possessions, they do it with status, all sorts of different things. And the only thing that makes it really sad is the fact that they manipulate a dog to then act in its most uncomfortable way to make them feel 5% better. And I think that's the really sad thing, because the problem is, because they are the best thing in the world, they don't come for free. They love you unconditionally, and then they are there for you, but you have to put in. So taking them for a walk, engaging with them, feeding them, grooming them, fucking all the different jabs and things that they need. But they don't need to like have their core values fucked with just because you've got your own issues. And it's sad that someone can put all that time and effort into making that, rather than actually looking at themselves a little bit and going, do you know what? Maybe I don't need a Mastiff, or maybe I don't need a Pit Bull or a Staffy, because unfortunately, and it's happened forever, it just gives that breed a bad name. And it's only because it's just keep poking the bear, or the dog in this instance. Any dog will react the same. It's how devastating it can be as you build up through breeds. Because our dogs, well, me having a Lhasa Apso and Cockapoos, they could go savage and they might scratch you a little bit. But when you've got a dog that the jaw will lock, unfortunately, it just doesn't matter who is defending it or looking at it. It's going to be worse. And that's and it's really sad that you know that there's a lot of these dogs that are waiting for adoption, and unfortunately they've got the wrong perception. Everyone's bypassing them, because the amount of Staffies I've met that are the most softest.
Staffies can be wonderful dogs.
They are beautiful.
yeah.
Dogs. Yeah. My sister-in-law's got the soft. He lies on me. He's a baby. He will literally lie on me to rub his belly.
My own experience of Staffies, which is probably about 4 different friends' houses, is wonderful.
Yeah.
Really nice, well-trained, really loving dogs.
Yeah.
But it is that status symbol, and unfortunately, there are people out there that want to put them on a chain, big, heavy chain, and make them look a certain way.
Yeah.
Certain communities, and that's the consensus in certain areas.
Yeah, I'm okay with my masculinity, so I don't mind having a little furry bundle on the end of a lead.
Mate, that's it. I mean, I would never turn any dog away. and it doesn't matter if it's a Chihuahua, if it's a Whippet, if it's a Lhasa or a Labrador. They're all amazing, but it's one of them that I literally couldn't give less of a fuck about what other people think.
No, that's a big.
Because I just my mission is when people see me out in public with them, that's their time. It's not my time. I got my headphones on. I got my cider in my back pocket. I know I'm going to go to the field and I'm going to have half an hour to myself, but it's their time. So they get to be in the house all day. They get stir crazy. We know what it's like for lockdown. We had lockdown. After a week, everyone's about ready to flip in, jump out a window. So you imagine what it's like for a dog when you can't even say, "Can someone open the back door, please? It's fucking boiling," when no one's in. So knowing that I'm out with them for that little bit, this is on you, lads. Do what you want. And if someone walks past and goes, "Oh, he looks a bit soft," I'll be like, "All right, no fucking problem, man. My boys are just going for a walk, so you crack on and I'll leave it with you."
Yeah.
I must admit, we were talking about me, myself, and Irene with Owen, and my version of that came out recently when I was going through a bad patch. But that version of me comes out when I see a dog or animal abuse video. Do you know? I try not to watch them for my own mental health, but if anything crops up and I see that, or I just do this internal dialogue of what I'd do to the human.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Yeah, it's difficult. We went, like I say, we obviously, as you know, went to Thailand, and they were just everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's heartbreaking. And I kind of had to remove myself from the situation a bit, because every bar you went to, there's like 11 dogs just down the side, and then I'm going and taking extra food to them or whatever. And it was nice because Libby, I mean, what was she now? She's 11. She found dog food in the 7-Eleven. She got water, dog food and bits, and we found a dog every night.
Yeah.
And she would make sure when we're coming in and we've had a few beers and we've been out for a meal, and she'd go, "Can we go and feed the dogs?" And it's like, how can you say no to that? It's like, no, they're fucked. We're going to be gone in a week, leave them. Yeah. And it kind of, it makes you feel like you've done the right thing in the first place. So,
And you've got a great kid.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. I can only affect my two.
Yeah.
I can't affect fucking Disco Dave, who's got 2 bull mastiffs on a chain, who thinks he's rock hard. But someone could have. So whatever I can only do my 2, and that cascades down and over time, it's nice to see. And knowing that she would rather feed a dog than treat herself to an ice cream, it's priceless.
You do something right then.
Yeah, for real, man. And it's the same with any animals, really, anything. Like, and I know we've spoken predominantly about dogs. It's because I've never had any others. We weren't really a cat family. I'd never hurt a cat, but it wasn't the same sort of urgency to get cats.
Yeah, I admire cats. I don't think I'd want to have one because, you know, I own the dog, if you like. The cat maybe owns you.
Yeah.
You know, cats are psychopaths, effectively.
They're clever.
And there's nothing wrong with that, you know, but it's what works for the cat is best.
Yeah.
And obviously they do look down on dogs with some justification. You know, dogs are just sloppy bastards trying to please people.
But it's how different they are. Because they're linked all the time. Cats.
It's down to whether things are solitary or pack animals, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know?
Cats kill so much as well. They are absolute vicious buggers.
Yeah, I think the decline in the garden bird population may be down to the increasing number of cats that there are domestically.
But they're still. It's still like Jamie, my other friend's just recently got a cat, and he lives in a flat, and he said it's the best because he's working from home.
So you're going into a rap then?
Yeah. Well, yeah, you can. Come wax lyrical if you want. But it's when he sat doing his work, and the cat just came and sat with him for a minute.
I think I've never thought on a mental health podcast we'd be talking about animals' mental health more, but I think it'd be wise for the human acquiring a pet to really consider their lifestyle though, and what they can give for that animal. And some people may suit a cat better than a dog.
Without a doubt, yeah.
They need to be...
Or a guinea pig, or a hamster, anything.
Or even down to what breed of dog as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Because some dogs are much easier left on their own or spending time... Again, if you have more than one dog, sometimes they might ignore their owner because they're spending so much time playing with one another. If you've got 2 siblings, if you've got 2 dogs of separate ages, usually the older one despises the young one, and the young one's trying to be friends.
Yeah, but their natural instincts, they do seem to parent the other dog. Like when we had Harley, he didn't particularly like Ben, but he showed him how to walk off a lead. He taught, like literally, he did everything. And then if Ben stepped out of line, he sort of gave him a little bit of a word. And before you know it, like I've never trained Ben to walk off the lead, but I could walk from my house to here without him on a lead, and he wouldn't even blink. He wouldn't try and cross the road. He wouldn't go to anyone. He knows what we're doing. Yeah. And I think that's kind of fascinating because whenever someone says, "I'm getting a dog," I'm like, "Get two, get two." And it's not more work because, like you say, the breeds depend. If you're getting a Staffy, that's going to be needed to walk every day. It needs to run off some energy. Whereas Lasses and Shih Tzus and smaller dogs, they don't need to go every day.
No, although we take Teddy out 4 times a day.
Yeah.
Every day as a minimum.
Yeah.
And Sue and I split. I take him out 5 mornings a week, and then Sue gets up and takes him out at the weekends.
Yeah.
I take him every night out, last thing at night, and then he goes a couple more times, once in the afternoon and once in the early evening.
Yeah.
So he lives the life of bloody Riley, really.
Yeah.
I'm going to review all this.
Yeah.
It's time that dog started paying for his living.
He's not going to pay for shit.
But share this episode to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there is, like, just to know what you're getting into, or even to know that you can commit to going for a walk, or you can commit to whatever bits it is, because it is a big investment.
But that commitment is really useful as well. So for me, from an exercise point of view, it's no good saying I don't want to go for a walk today. The dog needs to go out.
Yeah,
Exactly.
No, that sounded really good about the walking factor. And
and there's a penalty of having to clear shit up if you don't. Do
Yeah,
that, you
yeah.
know.
Well, this is it, and it's the same. Like if I literally got at 5:30 and said, "Stace, I'm going for a walk," and she was like, "Well, we're doing packed lunches, and Libby needs a shower, and I need to hoover," and I was just stripping the wallpaper, I'd be like, "Yeah, well, I need half an hour." She'd go, "Oh, fucking chance, mate. You're insane."
Yeah.
Well, if you want to, that's fine, but let's see what happens. Whereas when I go, right, I'm just going to take the boy, she's like, "No problem."
You're actually doing a chore then, aren't you?
Precisely. Yeah.
Genius move.
Yeah.
Win.
But this is it. You can always make chores work, can't you? It's like washing the pots and listening to a podcast. Are you doing a chore or are you doing something you want to do? It's just one of them things. But yeah, it's and I don't think it matters what it is.
Yeah.
My stepmom connected with. We bought my brother's guinea pigs once, and she babied them guinea pigs.
Yeah.
Something silly, and I think it was because, looking back now, they were going through the pre-teen stage. That they don't need mum and dad as much. So they were old enough to go out on their own. They're old enough to make decisions and do different bits. So she had something to mother.
Yeah.
Which is lovely, but we didn't know we were facilitating that at the time.
No.
We just dropped these guinea pigs off, and before you know it, I mean, there were 3 guinea pigs from my friend, and then they came around one day and they said, "Yeah, we've just been to the vets. That's cost us 90 quid." And I was like, "What the fuck are you on about?" And they're like, "Yeah, we thought one of the guinea pigs was limping a bit funny." I'm like, "What?" I think it ended up costing them a couple of grand for them guinea pigs.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't have had them any other way.
And people are quite negative sometimes about surrogate babies. I knew I was lost when we'd had Teddy less than a year, and we were on holiday in the Scottish borders, and just got some music playing there, and the Beatles song was on, "She's Leaving Home," and this ridiculous thought. I just thought, what would I do if Teddy decided to leave home?
Yeah. Find yourself crying into your beer.
And I was just feeling really tragic for a minute. I almost imagined him with a stick with a knotted handkerchief tied to it, on the back.
I'm going to COD now.
No, don't leave me, Teddy. And I realised I was lost at that point. But I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
It's just that emotional engagement. I don't want to back off from that. It's nice.
Not a chance. Well, it's Ernie's birthday today. He's 4. It means fuck all to him.
Yeah.
Literally less than fuck all. But we've all got up in the morning, and Stace gets up first, and I'm sat in the bedroom just getting myself ready, and all I can hear is, "It's your birthday!" And he's fucking jumping around like, "This is the right tone of voice. What do you mean?" And she was like, "That's biscuits." And then all of them are fucking going mad. So I've got down, given him some fuss, and he's like, "Are you gonna?" And so I started telling him, "It's your birthday." And he was like, "Yeah, come on." Took me straight to the cupboard. Both the girls did it, and then Libby was making a deal with Stace. She bought her piggy bank downstairs. "Mum, how much money have I got?" And we said, "Why?" She went, "Can you take me to Hina after school? Because I want to buy Ernie his presents, but I need enough to buy all 3." And you're just like, "Oh, you fucking beautiful little bastard! Don't be shit like that." Do you know what I mean? But it's so nice, but it's making a big deal of everything, and I think people have never had, well, they've either not had enough trauma in their life, not realised they need a coping mechanism, or just not had that connect when they, when they don't understand it. They've not had pets, and they just don't understand it. I think it's such a strange thing for me to try and comprehend, because they're the biggest part of my life. They are part of the family. Whereas, when they're like, oh, no, I don't want that, or I wouldn't want them in my house, or sitting on my settee, or whatever, I'm like, they're not here for long, man. They're only here for a little bit.
Yeah.
And just...
I've got steps up to my settee, and
Exactly.
we've got steps up to the bed.
Come on.
Here he
The
is.
bloody dog, you spoiled rotten.
But
I often wonder what goes on in dogs' minds as well. There used to be this thing that humans are sentient and other animals are not, they're just driven by instinct. I don't believe that, because if it's only instinct, when he has a biscuit, who's enjoying the biscuit?
he fucking loves a biscuit.
There's got to be a sense of self, because how can you have enjoyment without a sense of self?
Well, that's it.
So dogs have personalities, they have a sense of self, as do cats most certainly do, and I think maybe many other animals do too, to greater or lesser extent. And I think there's an interesting experiment as well as seeing how that instinct and personality mixes with animals. I find it fascinating on a daily basis.
Yeah.
To try and figure out what's going on for my dog.
Well, I think it's when you get owners that care as much as you care about the dogs, very often you'll end up that you find you're talking to them for a longer period of time than anyone else you've passed. So when you see someone else with a dog and they stop and take time to talk to you, before you know it, how old they are, where they've been adopted from, why you've got two instead of one, or where you've been, or where you're going, or what they've had for dinner. And I think that's kind of cool because...
Not with me, though, because it's, no, just fuck off, get your own dog.
Yeah, well, that's because you've got Teddy, and he's beautiful, and he's kind of a handsome dude. But it's like there's 4 or 5 pointers that go to the field we go to. And you've always got people, some people put them straight on a lead, and, oh, no, you can't... And my big thing is, if you had anything on a lead, and you tried to stop it from seeing each other, its own, like... Well, it's equivalent, like dogs or people or whatever it is. They'd be inquisitive, and then they'd start to be tribal, and that's when you get the bit of a.
And it's that lesson, isn't it, that we should apply to humans as well. Try and figure out things from the other person's point of view, from the animal's point of view. What is the animal's needs? What are a person's needs?
Yeah.
And if you're only doing things according to your own needs, how well are you relating to other creatures?
And what made you know fucking everything? Yeah. And that's why, like, I let them off. I walk down the path, I look into the field. If there's no one there, I let them off.
You said something nice there as well in terms of other people. It opens a sense of community up for you, doesn't it?
Massively.
When you go for a walk and
massively,
you've got a dog with you, you always have great chats with dog walkers.
Yeah, well, at the very least, you say good morning to one another, don't you?
Yeah. But I saw like they
it's kind of an understanding, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, dog walker. Well,
there's a couple
of see someone without a dog walking,
and you don't.
What have they been up to?
Why are you at the park on your own, you weirdo?
Must be a criminal.
Yeah.
But there's these couple of guys, and I see them in the field, and they've got the most beautiful pointers that are all show dogs. And over the years that I've been speaking to them, they know how much I'm obsessed with dogs. And they said, "Oh, we've not seen you for a while. We really need to see you. We've had a puppy." And literally, all I wanted to do then was go straight back to their house and look. But my dogs, because they know it's them, they're left alone. Even though they're show dogs and they walk around very proud and they're the most beautiful dogs. When my dogs get in there, it's like Jackass. They're just like, fucking hell, let's have a riot. And they're like, all right, no worries. And they're just running around like fucking idiots. But that's kind of nice because it's not like they go, no, they can't do this. They're not meant to do this. This isn't how they are. Because I went to Crufts once and that really broke me. I hated it. I couldn't stand any of it. It was really, 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 really traumatizing. Because I think people have sometimes taken what I accept as unconditional love just over the edge where they're just literally in a cage brushing them. Like, obviously, it just looked like Mr. Bean that still lives with his mom and he's just like, no, they must be pretty, got to be pretty. And you're like, it's not a life for the dog. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, let dogs be dogs.
And that's it. And so not everyone's getting it right, but the fact that they're here is a blessing.
Okay, so I think we'll wrap things up there. It might seem at first sight a bit of a trivial subject, but I think you can see that to the three of us, it absolutely isn't, and that dogs or pets in general can really make a positive difference in our lives, give us a focus away from our own issues when we're looking at just relating to that animal. In a way, everything else falls away, and that's a really valuable thing. Enjoy. Bye-bye.